Hello, today I'm back with a versus video. This time we'll be comparing two great albums from two of the biggest names in the world of melodic death metal. And those albums are Anthems of Rebellion by Arch Enemy and Damage Done by Dark Tranquillity. So yeah, these would be these bands' second albums into the 2000s. With Arch Enemy, it was Wages of Sin, and then Anthems of Rebellion, and then with Dark Tranquillity, it was Haven, and then Damage Done. But let's first talk about Anthems of Rebellion by Arch Enemy. So this would be their second album with Angela, who I still think is the best singer the band has had. And I do like the other Well, Johan is can be a hit or miss for me, but really the only album I like from his era is Burning Bridges. I think that's a pretty good album, but I'm personally not too big on the two albums before that one. I mean there's a few decent tracks off those other two albums. I mean, like Beast of Man and Bury Me an Angel, but personally from that era I only like Burning Bridges. And then when it comes to Elisa, I like the albums they've done so far with her. I think they've gotten better with each album personally so far with her. So I do think Deceiver is easily the best one they've done so far with Elisa, at least in my opinion. And honestly, this might be a hot take. I think Deceivers is maybe one of the band's best. But yeah, back to Anthems of Rebellion. I do think this album is easily one of the band's best albums, easily. Wages of Sin would be at the top for me, but honestly, this would be in very close second. I think this is a really strong follow-up album. I mean, you do have the song on here that got me into Arch Enemy. That song being "We Will Rise," and for me, still one of their best songs for sure, and definitely one of the big anthems for a reason. Dead Eyes See No Future is another bigger song off the album that I think is also another big highlight off the album. But I think this album also has some really good deep cuts, such as songs like Dehumanization and End of the Line, which features some vocals from Christopher Ammett. And I also think Instinct is another one of my favorites when it comes to the deep cuts on here. Silent Wars, I think, is definitely a banger. You can get some solid melodeath riffage in that song especially. You can also say the same thing with other songs like We Will Rise and End of the Line and Instinct. But yeah, all around definitely really great album, and I'd maybe say one of the best metal albums of 2003. And also, of course, Angela also sounds really great in this album, especially in songs like We Will Rise and Instinct and Dehumanization. But yeah, definitely really dig her vocals on this album, to no surprise. But yeah, again, definitely a really great album. But let's go ahead and talk about Damage Done by Dark Tranquillity. And I'll be honest, especially over time, this album has grown to be maybe one of my favorite metal albums of the 2000s in general, if I'm being honest. And easily my favorite when it comes to Dark Tranquillity. I mean, of course, they have other great albums like The Gallery and Haven and Fiction and Adama, but out of all their albums, I think this one's probably my favorite. I mean, came out in 2002, and this album comes out after Haven, which was during their, you can maybe say, experimental period. That period being from Projector in Haven, where they included some clean vocals, more Projector than Haven. But Haven, with that album, they incorporated more synths, keyboards, however you want to put it. But I personally really dig Haven, but I think they would do even better with this album, Damage Done. And yeah, they definitely really deliver the heavy on this album. And I think even with all the heaviness that you get in this album, I think the band still delivers some pretty strong hooks in this album. You can definitely notice that in songs like Monochromatic Stains and Single Part of Two and Cathode Ray Sunshine, those songs being some of the best songs on the album, I'd say. And you also have the banger Final Resistance, which I think is maybe one of the band's best album openers, and also one of the best songs in general, I'd say. This album also has one of my favorite title tracks from the band, and maybe a contender for maybe being my favorite title track from them. But yeah, I absolutely love the title track off this album. Just like with Anthems of Rebellion, I do think that Damage Done also has some really good deep cuts, such as songs like the title track and the Treason Wall and Hours Passed in Exile. I mean, all around a really strong album. And of course, Michael Stein's vocals also are pretty good, especially in this album. And honestly, their new album, End Time Signals, is still probably my favorite album of the year so far. I'm not sure how other fans feel about it nowadays, but I still personally really dig that album, and to me, one of their best when it comes to the more recent stuff. But yeah, Damage Done, all around a really strong album, and I'd maybe say one of the best metal albums of 2002. And 2002 had some pretty good releases, I'd say, but this is, again, really good stuff. But if I were to pick which album I like more for this video, I'm probably going to have to go with Damage Done. I mean, don't get me wrong, Anthems of Rebellion, pretty strong album, but if we're talking replay value and which album has, to me, maybe less filler or skips, however you're going to put it, with all that, I'd probably still go with Damage Done. But yeah, that is the album that I'll go for this video. Let me know your thoughts on my choice. Let me know which album you like more in the comment section below and all the good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.